YouTube. I don't know if I do on TikTok because I post clips. So yeah. But anyway, today's video is going to touch on grace and favor and coming against the lie of the enemy that says you're unqualified. So, testimony service would be me getting an opportunity to fall in my lap that I did not know about, that someone called and told me about. And God has shown me this past week of like how people truly see me, and I feel so like I'm in awe. Like and people are like, I don't think you're excited. I said, I'm in awe. Like I am truly in awe. Because I don't even understand it myself. And that's when I just started thinking about grace and favor. And the William Murphy song is stuck in my head. It's working. This is my season for grace and favor. And it's working all together for my good. And it just reminded me that you have to trust in God's divine timing. Trust in God's divine timing, because He knows better than us. His ways are above our ways, and thoughts above our thoughts. And yeah, He knows better. He's the author of the story. He orders the steps. We just have to align. So I think I've talked about it in previous videos. We have to make sure we're aligned. We have to make sure heaviness and distractions are up off us and out of the way. Because once those things happen, you're able to see God clearly. You're able to see the plans that God has for you clearly. But grace and favor, it don't make sense. I think that's the thing. I'm still so, it's like, oh, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't. You can think about, oh my gosh, I done did X, Y, and Z. And not in a sense of being stuck in shame and guilt, but in a sense of, God, I am just not worthy. Humbling yourself. Like, I am just, God, you are good. You are good. You love your child regardless. And that makes me even more full of gratitude. Even more full. But to come against the attack that the enemy has, you got to read your word and know who God says you are and what He has promised to you. Because yesterday I was reading Isaiah 43. He promised us victory in that book. But something that stood out to me yesterday was when it brought up Jacob's name being changed. And Jacob's name was changed from Jacob to Israel. And it made me think about identity and accepting your rightful place, accepting what is owed to you, right? Accepting what God promised to you. Stepping fully into what is yours. But again, you got to clear things out of the way to have that real, I would say you're already having an identity crisis, right? But for him to give you revelation about your identity. And when I looked further into what Israel means, the one who wrestled with God and man and prevailed. That was good to me. Because I feel like that's the story of my life. I feel like that is the story of my life. And I'm like, I prevailed? Yeah. I accept this. And then I even was talking about, looked into covenant, right? And it was like covenant identity. And covenant talks about not being in this transactional one-sided relationship with God, but being in an intimate relationship with God where you're aligned. Alignment is so important in this season. And that's why so many distractions and so many tribulations in the first quarter of the year came, because he wants to knock you off path. You already know who comes to steal, kill, destroy. Because he wants to knock you off path and make you miss what God has for you. But remember who you are and whose you are. Then I was reading Jeremiah today. Chapter 1 and 2. The first part of 2. And everybody knows, if you don't know, that has the famous scripture, before I formed you in your mother's womb, I knew you. It even talks about, you're not too young. Do as I say. It talks about, do as I say. I've given you the words. You be obedient and you say what I told you to say. I will handle the rest of the people. You do as I say. And that was good to me. I don't know if that was good. Because you will think that you're underqualified for some things. I was having a conversation with a friend, and I was like, we were like, look at politics. Without even getting too deep into it. I mean, if some of the leaders that's in leadership right now is qualified, baby, I dare say I'm qualified for anything at this point. I'm just saying, like, that's like natural confirmation. That ain't even God confirmation. I'm just saying. And that goes to show you grace and favor is on, you know what I'm saying? It's not explainable. So, how dare I try to play small and shrink myself and come from my own self when, baby, God told me, why you worried about that? Do as I say. Then I continue reading on to Jeremiah 2. And it was like in the double-digit scripture. But God was upset in that moment because he said, I delivered you. People of Jacob, I delivered you. And so for you to still act like you're oppressed and be slaves, like come into the identity of slaves, like agree with the identity, is hurtful, because I delivered you into fruitfulness and abundance, right? He carried you through the wilderness. is to remain aligned with the identity of slaveship is insane and hurtful to God. So I dare say, what identity are you going to pick up in this season? What are you aligned with that is not from God that you have to cast down? How are you going to come against the lie the enemy has about saying you're unqualified? And are you going to recognize the grace and favor bestowed upon us from God? I serve a good God. I serve a good God, and I am so grateful to have had this revelation in this season, because I would have got robbed of opportunity. I just watched Dr. Anita sermon from this past Sunday. It was titled "Go Big or Go Home." And I think so many of God's vessels have been talking about it is a shift occurring. He is calling us to the front lines. He is calling us to step up in leadership. He is calling us to lead his people and be displays of his glory, to be testimonies of what he can do. Because everybody knows the one goal is to bring people to the kingdom, but we also have to go on these assignments to get some things done. And that was another thing in Jeremiah that stood out. I believe it's Jeremiah, because I think it was this morning, that stood out. And it was talking about how he sends you on assignment to tear down some things at times, and then to build up some things sometimes. So remember that wherever you are, wherever you're called to, God's got an assignment for you. And if you think you're underqualified, cool. You're going to get stretched. But remember what he says. Not even what he tells Joshua, be strong and courageous, but remember what he says. He says, do not fear, do not be afraid. That was another thing somebody else was talking about, the preacher was talking about this past week. Do not be afraid, do not fear. For God is with you. Romans 8:31 has been on my spirit heavy this week. If God is for you, who can be against you? If God is for you, who can be against you? Accept your identity. Remain in a posture of humbleness. And move when he say move. Hope that you all have a blessed rest of the week. I'll be back sometime soon. See ya.